Okay, so we've got the hood up and we're going to need to drain the coolant. So what we need to do first is open up the radiator cap. You need to make sure it's cool to the touch. You need to make sure you're wearing hand protection and eye protection. Press down, turn to the left. It's going to relieve pressure. You want to make sure you open it up away from your face. Check your cap. This one looks decent. We'll set it aside. So now we're underneath the vehicle and we need to take down this plastic skid plate right here. You're going to notice that there's some 10mm headed bolts that hold it up. Let's just remove them all. Remove the shield. So now if you look at the front of the vehicle, you're going to see the radiator. You have your petcock with a little drain. You're just going to turn this to the left and make sure that the petcock's lined up with a nice collection bucket so you can recycle your fluid. We'll let this fully drain and then we can continue. Okay, so next we're going to grab onto this clamp, and you can use pliers or you can use the tool that it's actually made for. Just get it on here, squeeze this clamp. Now we're going to see about pulling this hose down. Sometimes they get stuck. If it does, you could just use a pick and try to get in between there. And be careful not to bend your hose or break your hose, I mean. Just break it free and then draw it down. There might still be a little bit of coolant that comes out, but we look like we got pretty lucky on this one. We drained it good. Now that this hose is off of here, we can continue on to removing the thermostat housing. We're just going to loosen up these nuts. Obviously, I want to be careful not to lose it. We're going to remove this one. At this point, there's pretty good chances coolant's going to come out. See if we can break it free. Looks as though somebody put a little bit of maybe putty on there of some sort, RTV possibly. So I'm just going to give this a couple bonks, see if I can break it free. Before I do that, I'm going to take one of these nuts. I'm just going to start it on here so in case the housing comes free, it won't fall down, potentially get lost or broken. All right, I got a rubber mallet here. Okay. And there's our thermostat. Okay, so for the thermostat housing, you need to make sure you clean all inside here. That's where the gasket's going to ride for your thermostat. And you also need to make sure that you clean all along this area right here. Any of these crusties that are on here need to be removed. That's where the hose is going to go on, and we're going to clamp it. Okay, so now we need to clean the engine area where the thermostat's going to sit in and where the housing's going to sit / mount against. So you could do that with something as simple as a razor blade. Just try to get off any crud that might be on there that could cause an issue. We need this to be as smooth as possible. Okay, that looks pretty great, nice and clean. Let's move along. Okay, so now we have our brand new thermostat here, and we also have a brand new gasket. It's very important to replace your gasket. You'll notice that your gasket has a little strip on the inside. That's right where the thermostat's going to ride. So just go ahead and put that gasket right on the thermostat now. Just like that. Make sure it's sitting all the way around. That looks perfect. You're going to notice that you have a little vent hole. Okay? When you mount this into the vehicle, this should be facing up. That's going to make it so any air that might be trapped in the system is going to be able to work its way through. Very important to remember. So I just like to use a little bit of silicone paste, just like that. And this is just to act as a lubricant. And go right around that gasket. Beautiful. Okay, so we have our housing. Remember, it goes like this. You're going to notice that the housing has like this little lump. You got your bolt hole there. You feel across, it bumps up. That's going to be the uppermost point, and that's supposed to make it so you know where to put your little weep valve there. So just line that up the best you can. That looks pretty decent. A little bit, yeah. All right, let's get this on the vehicle. There we go. We'll start our nuts on here. We'll bottom them out, and then we'll torque them to manufacturer's specifications. Okay, that's bottomed out. I'm not going to go any further than that. We'll get the other one the same way. Okay, so let's torque these to 80 inch-pounds. There we go. See about getting that one. It's down there. It's a little bit harder. If for some reason your torque wrench can't get down there, I would just snug it up the best you can. Use your best judgment. Torqued. So now we're going to grab our hose again. We need to squeeze that clamp. It's also a good idea to check inside the hose, see if you got a lot of corrosion. I'm probably just going to wipe this out with a rag real quick so I can take a better look at it. So now let's clean out the inside of this hose. You could take a rag and just kind of work it around in there. We're just kind of inspecting it, see if it's severely pitted or cracked. This one looks fairly decent, so we're going to reuse it. Now I'm going to grab my pliers here, my little hose pliers. I'm going to squeeze this clamp. Oops. Squeeze the clamp. Slide the hose back up over the thermostat housing, all the way up so it connects with this little line right there. It's very important to make sure this is completely on. Line up your hose clamp, remove your tool. Now you need to inspect the hose, make sure it's completely on all the way around the thermostat housing, which this is. It's all the way up to the nub, so that's perfect. We know we got the clamp exactly where it came from, and the thermostat housing, if I feel on the hose, comes down far below the clamp. If the clamp's on the end of that housing, it could come off and cause a major issue driving down the road. This feels great. Let's move along. So let's just make sure that we close up this petcock right here. Awesome. Okay, so let's get this lower shield back up. Just put in all those bolts that you took out. Easy peasy. Okay, so now it's time to fill our cooling system. You can do that several ways. You can use a funnel and then add coolant and then of course let it burp out that way. It might take a little while. Or you can get yourself one of these special tools. This creates vacuum inside the system. It's a great way for adding coolant, and it's also a great way to test to make sure you don't have any coolant leaks before you add coolant. So what we'll do is we'll just put it on here, connect it all in. Okay, so we're just going to get this going. We're going to watch this build up pressure. It should make its way all the way up into the green. We want it to be around 25. All right, turn this. Turn that, turn this. We'll just let this draw in the coolant here. So now we're just going to use a coolant fill funnel with a little adapter here. Put it right on there. Put this here. We'll take out the blocker. Just going to add some of this coolant. You don't need to fill this funnel. That's just about enough. Now we'll start up the vehicle, let it run, and wait until no more bubbles come out. Once it's done, we'll put the cap on, take it for a road test. We'll just let this do its thing for a little bit. All right, so we finished running it. We waited for the cooling fans to turn on. They came on. We know everything's working well. No more air bubbles coming up inside our funnel here. So now it's time to get rid of this. What I like to do is it's going to be hot, so you want to be careful grabbing the upper hose, give it a little squeeze, put your topper in here, that's going to close it off, release the hose, and pull the funnel. Ready? Squeeze, lift, remove this, put this on there, and whatever coolant you might have left over, you can put it into the overflow. Just put it up so it's up at the maximum line-ish. Looks pretty decent. Just get the cover back on there. Take her for a road test.